I have a weird story that I want to tell first. I have this memory of watching a movie when I was a kid, and I think it was called Maximum Overdrive. And the movie was about machines come to life and rebel against people. But it wasn't robots, it's cars and bank machines. Everything that has some sort of mechanical working to it. It's not just computers. They come to life and they become hostile to us. For a kid, it was quite scary. I was really young when I watched it. I think it was at like a friend's house, and it was like, "Oh, we're gonna watch some scary movies."
And
Stephen
King,
apparently. And that was one of them. Is it Stephen King, really?
Maximum Overdrive.
There's this part in the movie where a steamroller goes through a park and kills a bunch of kids. And there's a part where a kid gets rolled over by the steamroller and his skull gets smashed open. And I can't remember how graphic it is. In my head, it's very graphic and you see the skull pop open. But I don't think that actually happens. I think in the next scene, you see just blood on the steamroller part from where the kid got run over. And while I was watching it, I don't think there was vanilla Coke back then. Maybe there was, or maybe that was what I had. But I had some vanilla flavored drink. And from now on, for the rest of my life, and this was almost 20 years ago when I watched this movie, maybe even more than that, for the rest of my life, whenever I drink something that has vanilla in it, I think of that scene in the movie. Every single time I think of that scene in the movie.
How a flavor or smell can do that too.
Yeah.
You can smell something and suddenly you're somewhere else.
Vanilla ice cream or anything is fine, but a vanilla flavor mix with something else, so a vanilla milkshake's fine, but a vanilla flavor mix makes me think of that scene in that movie every single time, and I don't know why. It's weird how memory works that way. Does anyone else have anything like that? Like they have a like a maybe it was the smell at the time. There was a specific smell, because I know smell is very tied to memory, and that smell, the sense of smell, is actually a lot of what you're tasting a lot of time when you're thinking of taste. But yeah, that's what I remember. Anyway, go ahead with Patreon now. So I was taking a 3 a.m. poop. And
you're too late now.
I was drinking some vanilla Coke and thinking about how it's not over the range at all. Vanilla Coke is nasty. I hate vanilla Coke. There was massive thunderstorms here in Moncton today. Crazy thunderstorms too. There was a thunderstorm last week too, and we heard this massive boom of thunder.
It was really, really loud.
We saw this flash outside, and this massive boom of thunder came out from nearby. And we're like, oh man, and the light flickered for a little bit, but we were okay. And then I looked online a couple days later, and apparently it hit a house a couple streets over and set the outside of it on fire, and a few people had to get evacuated. And it was like, oh shit, that was pretty bad. So 12 boxes didn't arrive yet, and the 12 boxes contain Lily's computer, some photo albums, including Finn's first or second picture with Santa Claus, the mall Santa thing, which is kind of cheesy, but that's what we like because we're white, and monitor, my old monitor,
my laptop,
Lily's laptop, bunch of like cosmetics that Lily had,
kids shoes,
yeah, and the 100K silver sub button from YouTube, and among kids' toys and clothes in these 12 boxes. We can't remember exactly what's in all of them, but those are the big important things. So we were expecting them to arrive on Wednesday or Thursday of this week, and they weren't here. And on Thursday, I'm trying to get some sleep because I haven't been sleeping very well at all since we got to Moncton. So I'm having a nap upstairs, and there's a knock on the door, and then Lily comes up and hands me this letter that's come through Express Post through Canada Post. And it's a letter from the very, very... Oh, crap. Oh, no. All right, back up. Beep, beep. It's the letter from the very, very nice people who run the post office that I shipped everything from. And I say nice because I actually ran out of time to ship everything, and they stayed open 10 minutes later than they should have to allow me to finish shipping the boxes over. And if they hadn't done that, I would have had to pay for an extension on the plane ticket just to ship the last 2 boxes that I had. So they're very, very nice. Anyway, so apparently they send this letter, and they say the boxes were shipped out, and then they came back because the postman found that bugs were crawling out of the boxes. Keep in mind that we shipped about 40 to 50 boxes, and 38 of them are here already. There were no bugs, nothing. But apparently there were bugs crawling out of these 12 boxes, so they got sent back, and they tried to be put back into the apartment building we were living at before, and the landlord, so lovely of them, declined to accept them, even though we still have a lease on that apartment.
We technically live there until the end of July.
we still have the lease active on until August, and they rejected the boxes, so they went back to the post office where I sent them, and he said, I don't have a phone number to contact you, so I sent this through express post, next day delivery, and there's a picture of the boxes sitting in his post office, and he's like, here's the options of what you can do. You have to fly here and clean them, empty them all out and clean them, or you can try and see if UPS will pick them up and send them instead because they have less standards than Canada Post, or you can abandon them. And he said, you have 2 weeks to get them before Canada Post will dispose of them. And I'm staring at it and I'm going, are you fucking serious? Like, if you read the story on Patreon, it's like that. It's like part 2 just keeps going. The shower had burst open in the back of the wall and leaked water down from the ceiling while we were here. Oh man, yeah. If you were on Discord last night, or if you haven't been up to date with what's been going on in our lives, because why would you? We bought a house, and we moved into the house. We moved across Canada. We moved into the house. Last night, just sitting here, Lily takes Finn up to have a shower, and I'm sitting here, and it started raining inside. It started raining in the living room, and so I ran up the stairs and just kind of burst into the bathroom.
Scared the shit out of me. You turn off the water. So I grabbed Finn because I thought, what's wrong with the water? So they're not thinking about the actual water, right? Just get him out of there.
And we turned off the water, and we thought a pipe had burst in the ceiling in the living room. One of the drain pipes that came from the bathroom upstairs. It turns out that it was the back of the shower. So the shower head inside the wall had broken, and whenever the shower was on, there was a massive leak that was coming downstairs, and it was pouring through the ceiling. So yeah, that was fun. That was scary. So we had to get a plumber out here, emergency plumber.
Like midnight.
And we solved the problem. So yeah, that was our last night. So it's been fun. So if you read the story that we post on Patreon, that's just still going. That's just how it is, right, Lily?
It's gonna be the Money Pit. We're remaking it. The 1980s movie. It's new. It's here.
Honestly, as bad as that was, the plumber showed up. He was very nice, and he solved the problem quickly. We lost some trimming on the door because he had to move part of the wall out in order to get to behind the shower. But it was pretty reasonable how much it cost for him to fix it, considering it was close to midnight and it was an emergency on a Sunday. Weekend. It was.
I thought we were gonna get $200 for sure.
Yeah, it went okay.
Well, he's Canadian.
That was scary. I thought a pipe had burst in the ceiling. It's lucky that it was just the back of the shower head inside of the wall. But we still need to take part of the bathroom need to be taken out to get there still.
Yeah, there's a big hole in the wall right now with insulation.
Yeah.
And that was the nicest room.
That's okay. It's just non-stop bullshit getting anyone to do anything here in Moncton.
We've contacted 4 different types of workers to do work here, and nobody has called us back.
They don't call back. Yeah, we wanted to install some doors inside, like advanced baby gates, because the Finn is just Houdini for baby gates. Well, we decided that we're wasting so much money buying these different baby gates. Let's get a professional in who will install a proper door that he can't get through. A Dutch style door, if you know what that is. It's like cut horizontally, so you can't get through. And the guy here took measurements. He's like, okay, we'll have a quote for you tomorrow. And then it's been a week and there's still no quote, so I have to call them back and say, hey, what the hell's going on? Now that may seem like, okay, you should just call them back and harass them a bit, Joe, but I mean, seriously, it's been 4 or 5 different ones have been like that. They just don't want to take anything. And now this is the next step in the continuing story, that is this move to Moncton, that things going wrong. So there's bugs coming out of the boxes. I'm like, there were no bugs. I didn't see any bugs. These 12 boxes are the last ones I packed. There are no bugs.
Food or anything either.
There's nothing in them. We
didn't have bugs in the apartment.
Yeah. What kind of bugs could there possibly be? So I call and I say, hey, can I speak to the guy who runs the post office? And they're like, oh, he's not here right now. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, when will he be in? And they say, well, he won't be in until much, much later. I said, okay, well, I need to deal with this right now because I'm going to have to fly back to Toronto. So I say, I got this letter, and I give them my name, and I go through, and I read that letter, and they're like, oh, don't worry, they left already. And I said, what? And it's like, yeah, they went out. And I said, yeah, but then they came back because of the bugs, right? And they're like, no, they went out yesterday. And I'm like, what do you mean they went out yesterday? He's like, yeah, there's no problem. Don't worry about it. It's all solved. And I'm looking at the letter, and I'm like looking at them through the phone, and I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, don't worry. I'm like, okay, well, can I give you my number and email address, and you can get the guy to call me back so I can figure out, what's going on, because I feel like you don't know what you're talking about. I didn't say that, but that was what's going on in my head. And like, yeah, sure. So a few hours later, the guy finally calls me, and he's like, yeah, they picked him up today. Simple cleaning fixed it. I'm like, what do you mean simple cleaning? And he's like, I just wiped the outside of the boxes a little bit, and then they accepted them, so don't worry. Like, what? Were there bugs? What happened? Did you... and I tracked the packages, and apparently they never ever left the post office. So I'm curious if maybe they forgot about them, and this is just some elaborate fucking story to not admit that they didn't ship them out for a week. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. And someone in the chat is saying, I guess the guys in the post office are the ones that... But yeah, maybe. Even in real life, I encounter bugs. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, so apparently they should be here on Monday or Tuesday. We'll see.
We hope.
Yeah, so that's what happened. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the packages. I'm just really, really, really relieved that I don't have to fly back to Toronto, because that's a whole day. I still might if there are actually bugs, but if there are bugs, my guess is that they actually came from the post office.
The outlets actually aren't grounded. We need to get an electrician in here to deal with that. If they would call us back, they called and said they were coming the next day and coming after dinner, and they just never called or showed up, and that was more than a week ago. So.
Yep. And the
waited around and nothing happened.
The electrician's name was Wally too, so we had the great moment of saying, "Where's Wally?" Wally said he was going to be here. Where's Wally?
That was great. I love that. That almost made it worth it. And thank you to Tim Lord of Biscuits who subscribed.
What kind of biscuits?
Are they shortbread? I was having a shortbread one.
All biscuits?
Right before the stream, and it was very...
Okay,
very
so most people in chat aren't going to know. Well, it's kind of late, so maybe people in Britain are watching. This is going to sound dumb because of the name, if you don't know what they are. Lily, I direct this question to you.
Uh-oh.
Are Jaffa cakes biscuits?
Yes.
State your case.
I would say they are a chocolate-covered, orange-flavored biscuit because of the texture of the crunch to the biscuit itself. It's not really a crumbly cookie. It is more of a shavings when you chew it. Biscuit. I
counter that a biscuit has to be hard. You cannot have a soft biscuit. I've never had a soft biscuit,
so I will agree to this.
Jaffa cakes are soft. I think a biscuit has to be hard.
They're saying cakes. Donut sandwich is saying cakes. How are they cakes when they're that hard? They're crunchy.
I don't know. It can't be a cake because a cupcake has the cup in front of it. A cupcake is not a cake, it's a cupcake. That's important. No one says, do you want some cake? If someone said to you, hey, do you want some cake? And you said yes, and then they give you a cupcake, you're going to look at them like, okay, I have to get you committed. It's not allowed.
Blaze, it's in the name Jaffa cake.
That's why I said, if you don't know what they are, you're going to think that, but maybe you do know what they are.
Haltfire says cookies.
Oh, what's a cookie versus a biscuit? I think a cookie is just the American version of biscuit. IMO.
Usually they're softer though. Like Jaffa cake is like a shortbread is more of a biscuit, I would say, than a cookie. The way when you chew it, it kind of flakes in your mouth. It doesn't crumble. It's not soft.
You can have a soft cookie though. This is complicated. It's just I don't know if there's a clear answer here.
You have to take into account different countries, different cultures, or
yeah.
they call things differently.
I'm trying to think back to my time in Britain, and I don't think I ever heard someone say, "Can I have a chocolate chip biscuit?" But I do think that someone in Britain would point to a pile of chocolate chip cookies and say, "Oh, give me a biscuit, will you?" I don't think they would say cookie when they point to the biscuit. Sorry, to the chocolate chip cookies. But I don't think they're gonna call them chocolate chip biscuits either. It's this weird kind of thing. Do you want a biscuit? Or go on then,
they're British.
Yeah, they're British and they're
not gonna say weird. Cookie. They're gonna say like a chalky lovey or some other cute
chocolate chip bicky. There you go. Someone said it in the chat. Like yeah, that is a thing. Yeah. Oh, give me a bicky then. Or a chip buddy.
Raining, don't forget your brolly. You know, like everything is cutesy with the British. That's why we have nappies. Where was I now?
Jaffa cakes are not definitely cakes. If anyone has never had a Jaffa cake, I highly recommend that you try them. They're very good. You might be able to get them imported on Amazon, but only get them if they're Prime.
Sorry. Why don't you just Uber Lyft around instead of both getting a car? Can we tell them? There's no Uber here. There's no Uber Eats.
There might be Uber, but there's no Uber Eats.
I don't think there is. Like, good luck. Even get a taxi. He called for a taxi to go to the airport one night and they didn't answer.
Yeah, that's true. They didn't answer. I had to call.
He's looking at me.
I had to call
like 3 a.m. and he's like, "How am I getting to the airport?" I had to call another kind of taxi.
No. I had to call the only other taxi.
And if they hadn't answered, I guess he just wasn't making the flight. Because,
it's like, oh no, I've exhausted 50% of the taxis in this city in one phone call. Shit, what do I do?
It just kept ringing. There wasn't even a message or anything. It just, nobody answered. You go on Just Eat, and there's a sushi place, and that's it. There's no Uber Eats. There's no Skip the Dishes. Major culture shock from here, from Toronto, let me tell you. So yeah, we have poutine, or Pootin as they call it here.
Poutine here, yeah. Poutine. They have poutine. I thought, this close to Quebec, that every single poutine here would be cheese curds instead of mozzarella, but there have been a few that are mozzarella masquerading as poutine.
Which is just
it's just
so
not
close to Quebec.
It's so shit.
It's disrespectful.
If you've ever come to Canada, or if you've ever been in a place that sells poutine, and you've had a poutine and you taste it and you're like, wow, I don't know why Canadians go crazy for this. I do believe that some people won't like it, but chances are you probably had it with mozzarella cheese instead of cheese curds. And cheese curds may sound gross, but there's something about the cheese curds mixed in with the gravy and the fries that just really makes it a lot better than mozzarella. It's not the same. It's really a big, big difference. Are we ever going to answer questions?
I'm still thanking people. Good thing I'm awake, because I think we're going to be here forever, so... I don't know how I'm awake, to be honest. It would be probably poutine without the E. That's how I would write it if it was pronounced the way. It's like they pronounce it the French way. And I'm not exactly sure what the French way is, but I'm assuming that is the French way, because these people that are saying it, a lot of them seem to have originated from Quebec. So I'm guessing...
The realtor that we had was from Quebec, and he said to me, "Do you like poutine?" And I sort of looked at him, and then I realized what he said. I'm like, "Oh yeah, I like poutine, yeah." That's another one too. I don't know if this is standard practice everywhere, but when you put your house for sale, the realtor will hang a lockbox on the doorknob, the front entrance, and it's hooked up to your cell phone system like an app, and you have to authenticate your app with your phone, and it'll send a signal to the lockbox and open it, and then you can get into
that way any realtor can get in.
Yeah, so it keeps a set of keys there to get into the house, and that's still on our doorknob on the front, and we've texted I think a couple times. Our realtor isn't the one that was in charge of the house. He's just the one that we contacted and then saw all the houses, and that's a whole weird complicated system, and that's still on there. So if that doesn't get resolved soon, Datapon's going to take some bolt cutters to it and see what happens.
Yeah, we've been here 4 weeks now and it's still there.
Yep.
Which is also
there are no keys in it.
A great message to send to the neighborhood, we're new, we live here now, because that's what that means, right? It's like a big sign still on the front lawn saying we just moved in. Apparently, Pootin, or they're spelling it like poutine, is prostitute in French and Spanish.
Is it really? Maybe Max was asking something else then.
Maybe. He was friendly with me, but not that friendly, if you know what I mean.
Did I just say his name? Shit.
Oh, well.
Wait, what? This doctor, I spoke about this doctor before on the stream. This doctor was a medical doctor, but also a naturopath, homeopathy, that sort of thing. And if you know anything about that, you know that's complete utter bullshit. She was a doctor to make money. She wasn't a doctor to help people. She was a doctor to make money, and she would push a bunch of stuff onto, because we're in Canada, Canadian patients that wasn't covered by healthcare, because things that aren't covered by healthcare are bullshit. So she would push things like homeopathy medications, you know. It was like a fucking alchemist lab in there, you know. There was a bunch of fucking jars on our shelf, and I swear to God, one of them was tarantula extract. I swear to fucking God. Like, it was that level of bullshit that was on there. And if you know anything about homeopathy, you know there was no tarantula in that at all. It's fucking snake oil. And she would push all these alternate remedies, you know? There was a foot bath thing that she would have that's going to draw out all the toxins in your whole body. It's going to draw it through your whole body, through your legs, and then through your feet. And, you know, the color of the foot bath is what it is. And it's just like this rusty-ass machine that you put your feet in, and it would just turn the water a different color to make it look like you were getting some things done, you know? And it was complete, like... It was such bullshit that she had me operating some of these machines, you know? Like, I didn't do any trading. I was just a glorified assistant. Part of her treatments that she would push on was vitamin C intravenous drips. And the whole second floor of her office was like a goddamn fucking opium den of, you know, go upstairs and get a vitamin C drip. You know, oh, you have a cold, get a vitamin C drip. Oh, you have an earache, get a vitamin C drip. Oh, you're feeling a little sad, vitamin C drip will just clear that back up. What, it costs $150 to get it done? Yeah, ignore that. Don't worry. Oh, you know, you're a little cold, vitamin C drip. You're a little hot, vitamin C drip. Anything, you know, vitamin C surplus, go get a vitamin C drip. It'll help you flush it all out. Like anything that can be cured by vitamin fucking C drip. And to sell it, she would go up and have them herself. You know, she'd sit as this fucking baron in her fucking opium den on the second floor with the fucking Asian music in the background and the hush, like wind chimes, you know, on these big fucking beanbag chairs, and have their read while they sip their fucking lattes and have their vitamin C drips because they have more money than goddamn fucking cents. And she would go up there too, and she was old. She was really old, and she would have like the most explosive diarrhea attacks too. She would, like, all of a sudden she would just, like, in the middle of talking to patients, she would just run out of the office and go into there's a bathroom on every floor because you know, she never knew when it might strike. Like, she would go in and she would have, like, just suddenly take massive dumps just in the middle of talking to fucking patients. And one time it backed up, like the whole sewer system backed up, and we had to call a plumber, and the plumber came, and the plumber, who's trained for this and this is every day, he gagged and almost threw up. It was too bad even for him with this backing up. Anyway, I don't know why I said that. Because she would hold meetings in the bathroom sometimes. Not immediately after she went, but not long enough either. Anyway, so she would go up and have her vitamin fucking C drips as well, and because she was really old, she had trouble finding the veins to get it in, I guess, or I don't know if that's because she was really old or whatever. She was big too. She was a really, 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 really big old woman. She would have trouble getting them in, and they would get stuck because she would dig them in too deeply, and she didn't really give a shit about it doing well. I don't even know if they dripped in properly because she knew it was bullshit. She told me she knew it was bullshit. And one time it got stuck, and she says to me, you know, you need to pull this out of my arm. And I looked at her and I went, I'm not doing that. And she's like, no, you are. Don't worry about it. Just pull it out. And I'm like, I don't really comfortable. And then she's just, pull the fucking thing out of my arm. I'm like, okay, fine, fuck it. Hopefully it hurts. And just like, and I mean, like, you'd think something like that would just be like, oh, it just slides out and here it is. It's done. No, it was like effort, like appreciable effort to get this out of her arm. Like, my arm hurt afterwards trying to yank this out, you know? Like, it was like fucking pulling Excalibur out of the fucking altar, you know? Like, there was like a splurt of blood, which was not cool at all looking back, but I was young and desperate and I needed the money, and yeah, and yeah, it was really, really bad, but we got it out. She was the worst driver too. The worst driver.
And they can hear Chloe. Chloe's lying behind me and she's snoring. So
yeah,
that's the dog.
Someone said I can hear Joe breathing in one of the other streams, and I watched the stream back, and yeah, that's not me. I'm quite the quiet breather.
No, it's Chloe. Chloe,
yeah,
I think was last time too.
It's one of the dogs. It might even be a cat one time, but yeah, it's the dogs. Jesus, is your doggo okay?
She's fine. She's sleeping.
Oh, look! Did you see the car flip there? Oh no, I'm sorry. They breathe quite heavily when they get into a deep sleep, I think. We'll probably get another dog soon. I'd like I think a big German Shepherd. I want a guard dog. I'm gonna name the dog Gatsby.
Depends.
Big German Shepherd Gatsby.
Gatsby, but depending if we're not doing dogs independently for the kids because there'll be too many dogs, you might want to speak to Finn about a Sherlock. Because we were going to name Finn's dog Sherlock, and then we were talking about it and we thought, well, you know, if we all have our own dog, that's too many dogs, so, you know. But Gatsby's
everyone's
an
gonna
awesome
say
name.
in chat right now we should have Finn's dog should be named Jake.
I know, but we've never actually watched it and he doesn't know anything about it, so it doesn't have the same appeal as Sherlock or Gatsby. Like, come on, those are some sophisticated dog names. They say if you're getting a German Shepherd, name him Wallace. Or get a cat and name it
Catsby. Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Name the dog Morgana. I love that name. Persona didn't totally ruin it for me either.
Oh, you want to go? You want to go partying? Oh, shouldn't you study? Oh, you want to go out to a club? Oh, don't you think you should go to sleep? It's a little late. Oh, poor Waffles.
The next question is...
Well, hold on. Why not name it Datapon? Because I'm gonna be outside and I'm gonna be yelling, Datapon, come back! No, the Gatsby's bad enough. Gatsby. What's the video? What's the name of the dog in the video where you hear the dog running and they're yelling out the dog's name and then the dog is chasing like 500 sheep across a field? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
What's the name of the dog in that video? I love that video so much. I need to find it after we're done. I would name a dog Tora. Fenton, that's it, Fenton. Fenton! Fenton! It's a British guy too, it makes it so great. Fenton!
We don't really drink alcohol. It's very rare if we drink, like once a year for New Year's, right? That we really drink anything. Alcoholic?
Yeah. Last time we drank was when we did the Getting Over It stream on New Year's. You drink red wine. Red wine is probably the alcoholic drink that I would enjoy the most, I think. It's got some flavor to it. It's not just you're drinking paint thinner, you know what I mean? When I was a teenager, I drank just straight vodka because I was a little edgelord, and my opinion back then was that if you're going to drink alcohol, the only reason to drink is to get drunk. So why mess around? Just go for it. And that's what I used to drink. I can't stand it anymore. I can't smell vodka without feeling like I'm gonna puke. The last time I drank vodka was on a New Year's when Lily wasn't here, and I woke up topless on the bathroom floor. This was a long time ago. I remember I started the night having eaten some chicken fingers, and I was drinking vodka and Coke. I remember sitting at the computer, and then the next thing I know, I'm waking up half naked on the bathroom floor with, I think, a pile of vomit right next to me. And that was the last time I drank vodka, and I don't think I'll drink it ever again. Unless it's just a little sip.
You'd be better having it with something instead of just drinking it straight. It's disgusting.
And I'm pretty sure that when it comes to, like, oh my god, I got so drunk and this happened to me stories, that's tame as hell. Because, like, that's just... I wasn't really a big drinker. But, yeah, that's the last time I drank vodka.
Better than the Uzo story that I have where I threw up all over myself at a party and woke up with some guy's pants on me that I didn't even know whose pants they were.
It's pretty hot.
And it was only because I had thrown up. It wasn't like anything happened.
It's pretty hot. The throwing up all over yourself part.
That was my first drinking experience. We all have one, right? Did people straight out accuse you of being drug dealers, or were they at least subtle about it? Were you able to convince any of them that you weren't? Could you share any hilarious stories about how those conversations went down?
There are no funny stories, unfortunately. For context for people that are listening, when we were trying to rent before we moved into the house that we're in now, so before we bought the house and moved to New Brunswick, we were seeing if we could rent in Toronto and then outside of Toronto. And it's a story that's on Patreon. There's a lot of requirements for renting now in the city that weren't there before, that you need to give over a bunch of documents and your whole identity. It's basically consensual identity theft. We didn't want to do that, and so when we found a cheap place outside of the city, we just offered to pay the entire duration of the lease up front for the year that we were going to stay there, instead of giving them all over our documents and giving over all of our bank details. Who wants to reveal their bank details to anybody, right? Like, come on, that's private stuff. So we offered to do that, and that made them think that we were drug dealers. They didn't explicitly say drug dealers, and we didn't even speak to them directly, because I think if I had spoken to them directly, I think I could have persuaded them to hear me out and explain what it is that I do. But the realtor, because it was a realtor even though it was a rental, that we were talking with, basically came back and said they think that the income that you have is illegal, because why would you be so reluctant to not give bank details over, and how can you pay this up front? And no, there must be some illicit activity, so we're very uncomfortable. They were more comfortable a month later when they came back and said, hey, are you still interested? Because no one was taking their shitty rental. But yeah, they didn't outright say drug dealer, but what else could that be, right? Like, it's this thing. It's weird because we gave them our credit score. We allowed that to happen. And, it's not like we were giving over no information whatsoever, but yeah.
I thought it was funny when they came back, and
yeah,
we were in the middle of trying to get this house, and I think our offer had just been accepted like the day before or something, and I got a phone call from the rental agency that was representing the house and wanted to know if I wanted interested in any other properties, and if we were still interested in coming to that city. And I was like, no. Thinking we're trying to buy now, we're not trying to rent, we're not even looking there anymore. But I guess nobody was interested in their house, and it was a weird house. It was nice, but it was small, and there was no light in the basement, so you had to go down and do your laundry in pitch darkness.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there was a lot of weird things about it that I felt they were being a little too high and mighty for a house that had its problems like that.
It's a landlord's market, unfortunately, and they're charging so much money so you can live in Toronto. Yeah, for some perspective, the rentals we were looking at within Toronto itself, to rent a house that's smaller than the house that we bought, the mortgage payment that we have is, no joke, 1/6 of the rent every month that they were asking for. 1/6. That's how crazy the rental and housing market is in Toronto. It was a lot more reasonable outside, but in the cities that kind of orbit Toronto, but like Hamilton, that sort of thing. But it's still, they were pretty overpriced there too. I'm a waifu dealer. Oh no, I have the best heroines.